Whoa, we're live. Just like that. The camera comes on and here's my face filling up most of the camera. Hey, welcome to my channel, Mike's Dam Photo Journal. That's not a failed attempt at swearing. This channel is about Glen Canyon Dam, the construction of Glen Canyon Dam and the construction of Page, Arizona, and the eventual creation of beautiful Lake Powell in northern Arizona and southern Utah. So welcome. I am the aforementioned Mike. And I'm glad that you've joined me today on this live. After the live, this will be available as just a regular video. But what I wanted to do today during this time is take an aerial view of the town of Page in the mid 1960s. And then at different points of interest, as I point things out, I want to go down on street level, like we're standing there. And I want to look at some photos of the area and what was happening. And hopefully along the way, be able to answer some questions about things in this aerial photo that might be a bit of a mystery. I was there during this time. Our family moved to Page in, I think, 1960, and we eventually left, my wife and I, in 1985. I've been back dozens of times, and most recently was probably 2 years ago. But I grew up there. I grew up there in the 60s and the early 70s, and I watched the dam go up. I was there when not at the very beginning of the town, but shortly thereafter. And I watched a lot of things happen during that time that really stuck in my memory. When I visit Page, I've got a memory pretty much on every street corner and every street, because growing up there was really a good experience for me. We would get up in the morning, especially in the summertime, and our feet would hit the floor and we're gone all day long. We're exploring, we're looking at things, we're, just being kids. And it was a great place to grow up. So I have a lot of memories there, and surprisingly, a lot of them stuck. And since I started this channel, I've learned a lot of new stuff from a lot of you who have chipped in and contributed in different ways, and given me even more of a base to talk about these things. But let's start by just looking at an aerial view here of Page, and then I'll zoom in from time to time, talk about different things, and see what we can do with it. So here's the main picture that I'm going to use. You can see there's other photos on the side there that I'm going to get to as well. But this is the main photo that I'm going to be using as we look at Page here. And you can you see my mouse there? Is that okay? You can see that the old trailer court here, I don't know if it was called the MCS trailer court or what it was called, but you can see that it's emptied out at this point. So I know this is, I'm going to call it mid-60s. It might have been 65, 66, 67, maybe somewhere in there. But my point is that it's an early view of Page. And these trailers here were a later addition. So this was a time when the construction of the dam had completed or was near completion, and the population of Page had dropped significantly. I remember those days. And this became a big playground out here for us, this old trailer court, once the population dropped off. But let me kind of zoom in here a little bit. I want to start at the airport because why not? We lived at the airport, literally. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit here. Let me zoom in here and see what I can do, if I can do anything at all. With this software that I'm using, I can't zoom in the normal way that, one would normally zoom in on a photo. So it's a bit of a learning curve. But here's a nice view of the airport. And again, the reason I want to start here is because I lived here. Our trailer sat right about here at a bit of an angle. I don't think this hangar was there. I know that this terminal building wasn't there, but I don't think this hangar was there. I think there was one hangar, and our trailer sat right here. You could go out the front door of our trailer and have a beautiful view of Tower Butte and of Navajo Mountain. And it was like right there, picture perfect. But this was my playground over here growing up. And this terminal, like I said, wasn't here then. What was there was this trailer. You might remember this. This trailer right here. There again, you can't really zoom in like I am used to zooming in. This is the old Bonanza Airlines terminal. And I forget the gentleman's name who ran this. Um, Nice guy. Used to talk to him quite a bit, but I don't remember his name now. But this was the original terminal for Page and for Bonanza Airlines, if you remember those. So that sat there early on in place of this terminal here, which became permanent much later. So let's kind of tour around here a little bit and see what kind of relics we can bring up here from the past and see what we can do with it. I'm going to bring it up here just a little bit more. If we scroll out here to the edge of town, you can see this was the old movie theater. There was a drive-in theater here in Page back in those days. And this is the remnants of it. You can see the projector house here. The screen sat down here. In this photo, it's already gone, but it sat here. And there was a playground down there. And, you know, back in the olden days, when you went to a drive-in theater, there was an intermission. And you could go get snacks. You know, kids could go play on the playground down below the screen. But that's where the old movie theater sat. And then further to the right here on this photo, these are the corrals. The corrals sat out here. And here was the rodeo ground of the early years of Page. So that is all gone. I know that now out in most of this area, there's houses that have been built. You know, progress has come in and houses have been built. So let's just keep scrolling around this thing here and see what I can find. Hey, GrandCanyon.com. Let's bring your comment up here. It might have been Paul Drew. There you go. Paul Drew. How could you forget that? Who ran the Bonanza Airlines. Welcome, GrandCanyon.com. I appreciate you coming in here. You know, this is my first live on this channel, and I expected no one to join me. So I've got somebody here. Yay. So you get the showing up award, whatever that is. But yeah, thank you for that comment. Again, this is another example of people pitching in with what I'm doing. I started my website, which is now mikesdamnphotojournal.com. When I started it, it was pageaz.org, pageaz.org. And I only had a handful of photos that I was using at the time, but a lot of people contributed. And I'm not going to name names because I'll forget somebody. But a lot of people started, as soon as I started that and people saw it, they started coming out of the woodwork and saying, hey, I have some photos, I have some photos, I have some photos. And a couple of people had a lot of photos. And they gave those to me and gave me permission to use them. And so I started that website probably in, I'm going to say 2013. And then it became what it is today, I think in 2018 or 2019 at mikesdamnphotojournal.com. And again, that's not my failed attempt at swearing. I'm talking about Glen Canyon Dam. So yeah, so I learned a lot from a lot of different people who came forward and filled in some of the blanks for me and helped me not only in giving me photos and really good pictures, but also answering some of the questions that I had, especially early on, because even though I have a lot of memories of this area, I was young and I was busy having fun doing other things too. So it really is a help to have that. All right, GrandCanyon.com, you've watched my presentations up in the yes, I remember you. I remember talking with you. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you being there for that too. That was fun. I really enjoyed that. I did it twice. I got invited up there twice to do presentations with the Canyon Club in Page, and I thoroughly enjoyed it both times. It was great. The only thing I wish there was more time, and I'll try not to go too long here, but there's a lot we could talk about. And I hope that this is my first of many lives here on my YouTube channel, Mike's Damn Photo Journal. You'll notice there's not a lot of videos here because when I started the website, I used mostly still images. And if someone would have told me I'd be doing videos someday, I would have laughed because I had no desire to ever do a video. But now it's my thing, and I really do enjoy it. I find this especially energizing. So let's get back to this photo here. This is down here, you'll see this is Vista Avenue right down here. And it's, of course, still there. And if let's take a look at a couple of things here. These are all the businesses. Remember E&S Plumbing was down here? I don't know if they're still there or not. E&S Plumbing. Page Auto Supply was down here. Norquip Rentals eventually. Cedar Glass was here. And just a lot of businesses were down in this area. This is the old Page Boy Motel. And diagonally across the street here is the old Glen Canyon Steakhouse and Motel. And remember that sign that used to be there? Maybe we can look at that picture in a different live at some point. But there was that big sign that would go up to that star, kind of light up, and then it would come back down there at the Glen Canyon Motel. This building here was the old Vostron building. I know now today I think it's the city buildings, right? Is it still the city buildings? I think it is. But back then it was the old Vostron building. Vostron is where they manufactured parts for rockets. Remember back then the space race was a big deal. And so Vostron was doing their part to make sure that we were leaders in that space race. This is the USBR warehouse. This is where the first graduation of Page High took place, I believe, and maybe a couple after that as well. We'll talk more about that in just a minute. This is another building of the USBR. This building here was either the first or second post office as well. It served as the first or second post office. In fact, I've got a picture of it here. There's a picture of, the sign says post office, and it's got a P.O. box out in front of it. And this was, I don't think it was the entire building, but I think it was the front half of the building or front part of the building was actually that early post office. And again, that sits right here, just behind, I think that's the Windy Mesa, isn't it? The Windy Mesa building there? I'm not sure. I think it is. It's either that or this, but I think it's this one here. So that became one of the early post office. It might have been the first one, but I think it was the second location of the post office, if I'm not mistaken. I think the first one was right up here, and where this slab is in this picture, and we're going to look at that here in just a minute. But yeah, moving down along North Navajo here, we have what is present-day Warner's Nursery, Fred's Liquor. Is Warner's Nursery still there? I know they're in Flagstaff now. I don't know if they're still there too, but Fred's Liquor would eventually be there, and maybe it's there in this photo. I don't remember exactly when it started. But again, here's that trailer court that's all emptied out. These streets were named alphabetically by letter, so you had A Street, B Street, on up to P Street. I think P Street was the last one, which was closest to the airport. So what else can we look at here? We've looked at pretty much everything that I think I want to point out there. If we come here, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. I don't want to go too much because we'll lose resolution. In fact, I'm going to zoom out just a hair. This concrete slab was really the first business section of Page, early Page. That and the businesses that sat along here as you entered the trailer court. There were businesses here as well, but this slab is what's left of the early business district. GlenCanyon.com has something to say here, so let's bring that up. Not sure how to take the comment down. Oh yeah, sorry about that. I know how. There you go. Sorry about that. I forgot that was up there. Anyway, this slab right here served as the first Babbitt's, the first post office, the bank, and there was a gas station here at the end, a service station as well. And I've got a couple of photos of that here that I can show you. Here's one of them, and you've probably seen this photo. It's been floating around for quite a while. But it shows Babbitt Brothers Trading Post or the grocery store, First National Bank of Arizona. Over here on this end, which is really kind of cut off, is the service station, the gas station that was there. All of this sat on that slab that was empty in that previous photo. And here's another view of it. This is the same thing. You've got, you can see it a little bit better, I think, some of it at least. But you've got just the early business district, if you will, of Page, very temporary, but it served its purpose. And let's look at another one here. This is another view of that same building with people in front of it. So we get a little bit better view of things. You can see Babbitt's is up here. These two girls here, the one on the left is Donna Taylor. Donna was the first graduate of Page High School. And I think down here, yes, this is Petey Lloyd Dietz, who was Petey Lloyd back then. So Petey and Donna doing something there. Who knows what they were doing, but they were having a good time. And again, Donna was the first graduate of Page High School. And then if we scroll down here on my left column a little bit more, we can get a color photo of this. And let me bring this one, zoom this one in. This color photo of that same area with a nice Buick. I think that's a Buick. And people going about their daily business. Here's a beauty salon that was there as well. And on the other side of this building, over that way, was the post office. And I've got photos of that. I don't have them ready to go right now, but I have photos of that as well. But I think that was the first location of the post office, if I'm not mistaken. And the one that I showed you a minute ago was the second location, I believe. Could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I actually documented it. Let's go back to that aerial view. So this is what happened on this slab here. This is the old bottle stop, which I think today is what, Sticks Market? Is that what's there? We had Tenney's Phillips 66 station here. I think this was a Chevron station, wasn't it? I don't remember for sure. But I don't know if this is under construction here. The movie theater and there's these shops that went in the plaza here. They might be under construction in this photo. I'm not real sure. Up here was Page Market. Was on the end here, and in between it, and I don't remember what this building was here, but right in here I think is where the post office was. The first permanent post office. I think it's moved since then. So it wasn't that permanent. Who knows? This was First National Bank. Kiesling Service Station was one of these. I don't remember which one exactly. But again, this is North Navajo Drive here. This is what? This is Gum Street. Is that right? And this is 7th Avenue, which today is Lake Powell Boulevard. But back then it was called 7th Avenue, which went along here. And there's another concrete slab here that I want to show you that was actually in the video at the beginning, if you saw that, the little countdown video. Let's look at what this slab right here was, because it's kind of a cool thing. That was kind of a makeshift, well, it served a couple of purposes. One of them was a makeshift movie theater. You see there's benches there. You could come and watch a movie. In the background there is the MCS apartments. Brand new MCS apartments at that point in time. So this was one of the things that it served as, was a movie theater. Another one was a place to go dancing. Bring that up here a little bit closer to us. So it's the same slab, same picture as in that aerial, but this is what it was used for. And that picture in the aerial was much later, because it's in that photo, it's simply a concrete slab. It's been taken down, so it's not there. So let me kind of scroll down here a little bit. So if we come down here by the MCS apartments on, I think this is Gum Street if I'm remembering right, and it turns right here. This was the old teen canteen. Do you remember the teen canteen? It was a building that was built for the teens, to have a place to dance, to have a place to celebrate, to party, to be together. And I was too young to be allowed in there, although I probably tried a few times. But it seems like it was up on short stilts or something. You could get underneath the floor somehow. It seems like, anyway. So anyway, that's the teen canteen. This curve is still there. Now it goes the other way as well. And of course, this trailer court is, is all built back up now, and it's permanent in what it is. Again, these are the MCS apartments. If we kind of come this way, again, I'm learning how to zoom this on this particular live software that I'm using. It's totally different. I can't scroll the mouse, or it just does weird things. So let me zoom in here a little bit, see if we can get to where I want to be. There we go. This is the Empire House, early Empire House. It isn't the earliest Empire House, because I've got one when it was just one building. I've got a picture showing when it was just one building. But this is the Pink Sands, or this is the Pink Sands. One of them is the Pink Sands. I think it's this one. And I believe this became the sportsman's headquarters, and there was a laundromat in the back as well. But the sportsman's headquarters, I think, was housed in this building for quite some time. And this is the old Page Club restaurant. I don't know if it's open now or if it's still there. I have no idea. But it was open then, and it was doing business. So let me scroll back up here. This is the swimming pool. Page had that early swimming pool, and I spent a lot of time in that swimming pool. And it was a great place to go in the summer to cool off. It's not there anymore. I know there's another building there, but I don't remember what it is. And this is, of course, the park. And this area between the park and what would be the future business area where Babbitt's would go in, and or Babbitt's was in, and the theater and everything that's there. This big field sat here for years. And do you remember all the vegetation that was here? This was like thick trees, not tall pines, but like, I don't know if they were scrub cedar or what they were, but thick, full of big bushes and trees. And it sat that way for quite some time, just off the park here. And then there was this big field that sat there forever. I know now there's businesses all up in here. Everything's been developed, which is good. So that's good. Grand Canyon says this. That's where I learned to swim too. Yes, me too. So, well, actually, my cousin taught me to swim in Lake Mead, but I was a novice swimmer when I was in that pool there too. So, yeah, those were some really good memories. I'm going to take that comment off so that we can see what I'm doing. Thanks for reminding me of that, man. I really appreciate it. You know, that's the fun thing about lives. I've done lives on some of my other channels, and things happen. Things happen in lives that you just don't expect. And to me, that's just part of the adventure of doing a live. So let's scroll back out here. And, oops, I don't want to do that. See, lives are fascinating. Let's scroll back up. And let's go over here to the residential area a little bit and see what we can see. Again, this is Vista Avenue coming up here. The hospital is sat here. I believe this was a church. That was the Vostron building we talked about. This is North Navajo Drive right here. And you can see that there are houses springing up on the rim. The Warners are there, the Knights are there, and the Giffords, and all the people that we were used to growing up living there. Their houses are built at this point in time. So that's a good thing. And what else can I show you here on the rim? Oh, something that I mentioned, I think, in a video in the past, or maybe I mentioned it when I was in Page talking to the Canyon Club people. There's a mine shaft down here. I don't recommend going down there to look for it, but there's a mine shaft right down in this area somewhere. Gene Legate and I, at first I thought it was my brother and I did it, but it turns out it was Gene Legate and I, because Gene and I talked about it. We were out exploring one day, and one of us fell into this mine shaft, just a shallow thing, maybe up to our knees. We ran back and got a shovel and came and dug it out some more, but there is a tunnel that goes back into the mesa here. And about all we found was some broken, caved-in timbers. Fortunately, we didn't get caved in on. And a roll of twine. That was pretty much all that we found. But there is a mine shaft right here. And just up from this, I don't know what this building is today, but back in the day, it was the USBR headquarters. I know that it's been a library. I know that it was the town... not City Hall, but the town offices were there at one point, because Page was a town. It wasn't a city. So that was there. Again, I think there was a court in this building. So it's been a lot of different things. Not a very good picture of it. I've got some really good pictures of it that I can show you on other slides, or when we're doing another live. So if we come up here around North Navajo, you can see this is First Avenue. We ended up building a house right about here, and the Bowmans built a house 2 doors down from us. But our house sat right here. It's still there. Every time I go to Page, I drive by it. It's white brick, and it's 25 First Avenue. And that's a house that I say my dad and I built. I was probably in the way more than I was a helper, but yeah, got a lot of memories building that place. It took a while to build, and we lived in it for quite a while. And then he ended up building another house out here on the rim after I had left, grown up and left. He built another house here that he and my mom lived in for quite a while. So, yeah, Paul Drew. You know, you mentioned Paul Drew. He lived in one of these houses. I don't remember which one, because when we built our house, he was pretty much across the street from us. So, yeah, here's the gardener's house. These were the Transa homes, not transit, Transa. Google it. Transa, Transa, Transa. It's a model of home. These were temporary housing. This was temporary housing along the road here for those workers who were temporary, I guess. So I know a lot of people that lived in these. Legates lived in one before they moved over to Cedar Street, and a few other people that I know as well. So coming on down, let me scroll over here a little bit. Coming on down South Navajo now, this was the drop-off point. This road here, this loop, was a drop-off loop for parents dropping off their children to school, and for buses. School buses would pull through here and drop kids off. These are the old X and Y buildings. This is where I started school in Page, was in these buildings, the old X and Y buildings. And again, the drop-off was right here for all of this school area here. This was elementary school. This was, I think, middle school, and then junior high, and then the high school eventually would be down here. Early on, the high school sat in some metal buildings up here on the curve between North and South Navajo. They sat there for quite a while this was being built. But in this photo, again, late 60s, maybe somewhere in there, this work is finished. So this is the high school. Got another comment coming in here. My early elementary was in the X and Y buildings. Yes. Okay. We're kindred spirits, just like that. Yes, so you know what I'm talking about with the X and Y buildings. Those I have, in fact, no, I don't have it on here on my docket today. Scroll down here and see what I do have. I don't have it on the docket today, but I do have it on other videos if you want to look. Pictures of the inside of the X and Y school rooms, or at least one of them. And yeah, it was quite an experience back then. This was actually really rough blacktop, if I remember right. You didn't want to fall down there. That wasn't good. So let me continue around here to see what we can see. All right, right across from the X and Y buildings was the Catholic Church. Before this was built, there was a temporary trailer court right here that I've got photos of too that I can share with you at another point. But there was a temporary trailer court that sat right in here. And I don't think that Catholic Church building was there yet at the time that I have the photo of that temporary trailer court. So coming on down here, South Navajo again, we're going to, or excuse me, not South Navajo. This is 7th Avenue. We're going to transition here to where the teachers' apartments were. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit more. So these were the teachers' apartments and the school maintenance yard where they would do maintenance on buses and so forth. But a lot of the teachers lived in these temporary apartments here, the teachers' apartments, and many of them also lived in Chapman's Trailer Park. We'll talk about here in just a minute. But this is Church Row, so you can see it's called Church Row by the locals, by me. And you can see churches starting to spring up along Church Row here as well. This is the high school football field. This is the sand practice lot. Oh, don't remind me. Man, running wind sprints in that sand. Oh, that was a killer. But I have strong legs. I still have strong legs. So I guess there was a benefit. But this was the practice field. This was the actual football field back when Page, I think we were Class B football back then. And it was a good time. Man, like I said, it was a great time to grow up in Page. This building here was the Lark building. I don't remember what Lark stood for, but it was some kind of a rehab for, I don't know, alcoholism or, something. It was a rehab building of some sort called the Lark. And that was an acronym that stood for something, LARC. But an interesting fact about the Lark building, this was the first visitor center at the dam. This sat on the page side of the dam for a couple of years. Excuse me. And it was the first visitor center there. It sat there for quite some time. I remember it very well. I remember going in there quite a bit. And when the new visitor center, the existing visitor center, started to be built or was built, that building there in this photo was moved up into town, and it became the Lark Center. And so, yeah, a little bit of history there that not everybody knows. You had to be there. This is the old Richfield station. The O'Neills owned this station, and I've got some excellent photos of this. I've talked to Larry O'Neill Jr. several times about it. And yeah, it was, I think that's it. Yeah, I think this is it right here. Yeah, if I'm not getting confused. Yeah, somewhere there's a church here too, like a Baptist church that went in, but there's also a gas station right next to it. And that was O'Neill's Richfield station. So let's come back over this way. And let's zoom out just a little to get a little more clarity. Maybe right in there. And so we're coming up 7th Avenue again, and we're going to turn into Chapman's Trailer Park. And Chapman's Trailer Park was kind of emptied out at this point. Not a whole lot of trailers in there. We lived there for a while. We lived in a trailer right here. In fact, that might have been our trailer. I'm not sure. We lived in a trailer right here, kind of at an angle as you drove in to Chapman's from this entrance. There was a trailer right there at an angle. I know that Chris Lair and her family lived there later on, but we lived there initially, or at one point, pretty early on in Page. We were living there when the Beatles came on Ed Sullivan. I remember that very well. And that's the trailer that we were living in at Chapman's. And there's a Little League field that sat here. The water treatment plant was here. And you can see the remnants, or you can see not remnants, but you can see the old go-kart track. Yes, in addition to a pool and a drive-in theater, Page had a go-kart track. And it was a blast to go ride in the go-karts on the go-kart track. So I did that quite a bit as well. Let me see. I think I have. Is this pace okay with you all? You doing all right? Yeah, I have another photo here of Chapman's. This is. It almost looks like a Rockwell painting, doesn't it? Norman Rockwell painting. But yeah, you can see that coming into Chapman's. This is the trailer or the lot that we eventually lived in for a while, back in the Beatles on Ed Sullivan days. And yeah, just a nice view of Chapman's Trailer Park. There's a Little League field. Again, it looks like a Norman Rockwell painting. Just an excellent, excellent photo of that area. I'm going to scroll back up here just a minute and show you something else. This road here. Okay, I know that. I'll kind of stop a second. Here's a US 98. US 98 was brand new or near new in this photo. It wasn't there initially. There was no Highway 98. This is the road that eventually would go out to the power plant. But it wasn't there initially. This was a dirt road that came up and joined in by Chapman's Trailer Court right here. And that was the way to get out to, I don't remember if the industrial area was out there yet. I don't think it was, but the dump was out there. I could get out to Copper Mine on this road as well. But a couple of things to note. This building right here was the old KPGE radio station. So you would access it here, you turn in here. And in high school, I had some friends. I knew a guy in high school who was a DJ there, and we'd go down there and hang out at KPGE. You can't see it real clear here, but there was a road that came through up here. This was the dog pound initially. I don't know what's there now, if anything, but it was initially the dog pound. So what else do I have that I can show you? Again, I want to do more lives because I might have close to 1,000 pictures. I don't know. I haven't counted them, but I have a lot. But you'll remember that early on, right down here let me scroll back up here if I can get there. Yeah, very early on. When you would come out of Page, drive out of Page off 7th Avenue, which is now Lake Powell Boulevard, and you drive down here to the intersection right here, for a long time, this sign sat there. Add a page to your trip. I was there for quite a while, and it was one of those nostalgia things that happened. But yeah, add a page to your trip. Kind of a corny little slogan, but hey, back then it got people into town, and I guess that's what they were after. Something I forgot to show you earlier when we were talking about the pool is here's a photo of the pool. And there was a swim meet going on. I don't remember what it was. Someone commented on one of my videos or a picture a year or so ago saying that this was a swim meet that was happening. It certainly looks like it. But this is a good view of some of the activity that went on in the Page pool, which was really a refreshing thing to have in town at the time. It's kind of sad when it went away, personally. Here's another photo of the high school that I wanted to show you. This is, again, the X and Y buildings are off to the side here. Zoom in just a hair, maybe. Off to the right side here, they're off camera. In fact, they might not even be there anymore, I'm not sure. But this is a good photo. You can see the water treatment plant in the background. You can see the middle school buildings here. And this little playpen here that we used to call the pig pen. I don't know why we called it that. I guess we were all in there like, locked in or whatever. But I was in this building right here when word came in that President Kennedy was assassinated. I was in this building. So there's another memory of mine there. Do you remember between the middle school and the high school over here, right in this breezeway, right in the corner, there was an ice cream machine. I don't know if anyone remembers that, but there was an ice cream machine that sat there. I have a picture of a couple of high school students getting some ice cream out of that. I'll show you in a future video. And then, again, this was the high school here. A building, B building, and C building, also known as the gymnasium. That was the original high school. Again, this is South Navajo Drive right here. This is Date Street. This is Cedar Street right here. And just to kind of help you orient a little bit on what's going on here. And this is a great photo. The resolution on some of these early USBR photos is amazing. But you can see the teachers' apartments in the background here. You can see a couple of churches. You can see a little bit of Chapman's Trailer Park. You can see that Little League field and a beautiful shot of Lachee. Look at this. That's just a gorgeous shot of Lachee. So how long have we been going here now? We've been going, it says 41 minutes. So I don't want to keep you too long. I know that you've got other things to do on a Saturday morning besides listen to me ramble on. So I think that I pretty much covered everything that I had intended to cover in this photo. Again, we'll do this again soon, and we'll use other photos, and we'll take a closer look at the dam as well and answer questions. Do any of you right now, there's two of you in here, by the way, thank you. Do you have any questions about anything that I didn't cover or that you want covered? Anything like that. So again, this is my first live stream on this channel, and I'm thrilled for the people that are here because I didn't expect anyone to show up. I really didn't. So I'm pleasantly surprised with that. So that's about all I have for you right now with this presentation. Thank you again for carving some time out on your Sunday to join me in this journey. Again, as soon as I close out this live, as soon as the live is finished, it will be available as a regular video. So you can go back and view it at any time and check it out then. So thank you all for joining me, and until next time, y'all take care.